All right, welcome to Mr. Miller's Woodshop podcast. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Bobby Miller. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to all you folks celebrating around the country right now. I'm talking about a paternity leave. At some point, I'll make a longer podcast on how to set up a paternity leave because I've learned a lot now, having 3 paternity leaves land on the school year. My second born was born during the summer, which is, you would think, great for a teacher, but as a teacher who needs to work during the summers, that's about as worst possible scenario that you can imagine. And so if you are a teacher, try and plan a paternity leave during the school year. It's horrible for every kid except one, and that's your kid. And I learned a lot over COVID, teaching online. And so if you're new to the trade and wanting to know just how do you teach woodshop when either you're not there or the kids can't be there. And so I'm here to say I've never really done this well, and so look for a future podcast about how to do a paternity leave well. I've thought about doing that in the past, but I really don't think I've done it well, where students have truly benefited from my absence. And that just kind of is the case where in a learning environment, the educator matters. And so administrators that are listening to this, don't just get a warm body to fill that space. Hunt for months before you know an opening. If you know an opening is going to be existing, I'm literally right now on a way to a Skills USA event, and I'm just going to mention it to a couple educators that I know that are going to be there, that a job is going to be posted in a few months for a teacher in our department at our school that is hiring. So if you are listening to this live and you are interested in making a shift, Coon Rapids High School is a wonderful place to work. So the educator matters. All right. The first time I needed a paternity sub, a long-term sub for a paternity leave that I was going on, it was 2020, September, and this was after the initial shutdown. It was during all the questions across the world of, like, what does education look like now? And we didn't know as a district. In fact, we started that school year without students. It was all online, just like it was in the spring of 2020. All online. You meet your classmates, your teachers virtually. In my opinion, it's a horrible way to learn. And my opinion is like anyone else's, like, just take it for what it's worth. I'm coming at it from a shop perspective, and so I learned a lot from the initial shutdown. The students do not like just watching me do fun things in the wood shop while they sit in their bedroom for the 9th day in a row. It's a challenge too, because that first paternity leave for me, I was becoming a dad, so my focus truly was finding the guy to replace me, which was the encouragement of everyone around me. None of the shop teachers that had recently retired, who would otherwise have subbed for me, wanted to get back into the fray with COVID and asynchronous versus synchronous learning, and what does the hybrid schedule look like on a new program. And at the time, I was starting a new position at Jackson Middle School, traveling to Andover Middle School during the day. It's like you could not have written a more horrible looking job description for this job. And it's the job that I took, and so I'm the one who said yes to it. And so now I was open about needing a paternity leave right out of the gate, and the administrators honestly were desperate, looking for that warm body. They found me, and so I was the warm body at that point. And I later went on to do some pretty great things, I think, at that school. But I really think administrators listening, like, a good shop teacher is really hard to find, and so spend some time looking for them. Don't just post it and hope people apply. Like, go out and research and search and hunt for that person. Anyway, the guy we found, decent human being, I'm sure. He had a lot of questions about, can I work from home? And I was encouraging him to come in every day. He didn't have any health concerns. I had the health concern about having a new mom pregnant at home with a disease that we knew nothing about, how it affects pregnant women or babies. And so I didn't shake his hand. I didn't shake anybody's hand when I applied for those jobs. And it was understood at the time too. And I just preface it too, like, I got a young, I've got a pregnant wife at home, and I want to be safe than sorry. We've learned a lot looking back, haven't we? But in the time, that's how I proceeded. And so this guy is wondering about staying from home, and not really concerned about the projects that I had for him to administer to kids. He wasn't properly licensed, so it would have to be all book work and study and computer time. And so I did a ton of legwork to make his job as easy as possible. He did none of it, and he quit after the third day. And I had planned to take the maximum that I could take off, 15 days, to help support my wife and bond with my daughter. Okay, that's not a bad thing that you should be guilted about doing. And so I do that. It is a wonderful time for me. But when I come back, I also didn't check email. We were in the newborn IC, the NICU, for 5 days. And so once we got out, I didn't check email once. I had a voice message from my principal, which was a class act, in my opinion. He had just met me a couple times over Zoom calls, and he made sure to call me personally and congratulate me. I distinctly remember him saying, I can't remember if it's your 10th kid or your first kid, but either way, they're life-changing. Enjoy it. Take your time. Don't worry about a thing. We'll see you when we get back. And those words were so powerful because I got the voice message, and when the head honcho, the boss, calls, we all know who the boss is after a couple weeks ago, but when the boss calls, you listen, and so that empowered me. However, when I got back 15 days later and realized the carnage that had happened, it was like, oof, if this ever happens to me again, I'm doing things different. And so the educator matters. Connect with your admin on it. I feel I did, but the spiel I was given by that AP, that other administrator, was, you know what? We're dancing with the one that we got. We're dancing with the one that brung us. And basically saying he's the only one who applied. It's him or nobody, basically. Which is challenging to hear, right? If you want to do a good job. Think about someone replacing you that is incompetent and you've got 15 days off scheduled. And anyway, my second born was born in the summer. Kind of nice because none of my students were affected, but it was hard for me to take time off and still provide for my family. My latest child was born on Leap Day, actually, which is kind of fun. But I had everything planned out. I had every assignment scheduled on Google Classroom. I had scheduled emails to go out to administrators, to my department members, to anybody, because I specifically asked for just a canned substitute. I knew it would be every day somebody different, and so I didn't actually seek out someone because everybody who was competent told me no. So I tried to have everything set up, and it was much better than the first time, but still I feel it didn't serve students well. My baby was born on Leap Day, which actually came 10 days before the end of the trimester. And so the entire trimester I was telling students, you really got to get your acts together and go fast because I'm not going to be here. And it's kind of funny too because kids will ask okay, but when are you going on paternity leave? And they're teenage boys for the most part, and so they don't know that babies come when they come. And I got a window, but at this point I had a girl that came 4 or 5 days early. No, maybe 7 or 8 days early. And then my son came 4 days late. So I told him literally you've got a 2-week window. We might make it to the end of the trimester. We might not make it to the last month of the trimester. And so it was funny because I'd have that same conversation about every day. I'd have it in front of the class. I'd have it personally with kids, and I'd still get questions about, so when is your baby coming again? When are you going to leave? So that's just the sigh of what you'll get and what you can look forward to. The best thing is, you got a baby coming. If you are a teacher listening to this without an expected paternity leave for the first time, enjoy it. It's exciting. It's probably super scary, too, if you're a first-time parent. But it's a great thing, and so don't stress out too much. I am a planner. I like to have my ducks in a row, my T's dotted, my I's crossed, blah, 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 all that good stuff. And I had that. And so once the class was done, I had a certain room locked with all the student projects that were in there. Nobody touched them. We kind of went into a time capsule mode. and we were all on the computers. And I had some like decent CAD assignments and some WebQuest career assignments. I've got lofty ideas this go around to have some industry partners of mine make videos. And so if you are an industry partner listening to this, like reach out. I'm probably on paternity leave right now as you're listening to this, but it's the case where it can be a really cool thing for you to offer that up to students and help be the teacher's substitute while the sub is out, or while the teacher is out. And so that's my goal anyway. I don't know if that'll specifically happen, but I'm excited to at least try. And I'll have things set up this go around because it's kind of, my due date is December 23rd this go around. And so like we've had babies come early or late. Our trimester should be done. And so this will come at the beginning of the trimester. And so that's a consideration to take as well. But kind of going back to my third born, the students that were starting the trimester without me were my biggest concern. So those are the ones that never met me at times and weren't bought in. They don't understand the history of the program. They don't understand anything. Like, they're brand new, right? So how do you blame them? And more importantly, how do you prepare for them? And so my fix to that was to have every single thing planned. And so the couple of trimesters before, I actually videotaped every single demonstration I gave, as far as like classroom logistics, and all of my safety demonstrations were linked and scheduled to go out on the exact day I wanted them to be done. And so like, seriously, I ran my class without me there, but basically how I would if I was. And so they had a day for them to watch the video on the safe way to use the table saw, band saw, miter saw, panel saw. I worked in a couple other things too, just to have the content ready. And so it actually went a lot slower, and I gave them more time because I figured you'd probably have some substitute that would be fighting kids to actually like get their work done because they're not given the promise of getting to use it that day like they would be otherwise if I was there. And so planned for more time. And that was a lesson I took from COVID. The initial COVID shutdown in 2020, in March, when I was like, okay, we'll be back in 2 weeks. That was the beginning of our semester as well. And so it was like exactly the same. I got to do it again for the second time. But instead of doing one demonstration video and one test each day, like I would if I was physically there and we were physically in the room, I did one video one day on the demonstration and the proper processes for the saw. And then the next day was the test. It spaced it out, but it also made it more just logistically manageable for the students because it's a lot less motivating when it's watch this video, take this test. And there's no other option, in my opinion, to have an unlicensed sub do this. If you've got a shop teacher in the area willing to run your paternity leave, that's the best. In my opinion, if you trust them, if they're competent, they can handle the classroom and your schedule, like that's the best. But that is like, I've done this 4 times now and I've never had this become successful. And so I've never found that person. And so that's why I say it's like winning the lottery if you have that person. So starting the 3rd trimester with my most recent kid, without me there, had everything scheduled on so Google Classroom is a learning management system. And so I was actually able to schedule when the video would be released, when the test would be released. It took a ton of labor to do that. I organized everything in a spreadsheet that I shared with my administrators, my department members. Like I said, I had scheduled emails to go out to remind Mr. Brusman that this stack of papers that I want distributed to my students is right here on this shelf. Here's a picture of it. I sent that email like in December, but he didn't actually receive it in his inbox until like March 1st. So that was just the craziness. And I really don't think it should be that way. And so I'm probably going to do it exactly the way I'm describing it now for my next class. But in a perfect world, it wouldn't be all this legwork to do it and all this scheduling, because it really made a second full-time job for me to prepare for basically 8 days of work for students to do, because I'm also running multiple classes. I'm sure you are. It might be perfect world and you're just teaching in the woodshop all day, but I'm also teaching in the graphics lab and the engineering lab. At that point, back when my third was born, I think it was just woods and graphics. I don't think I was in the welding shop at that point, but it just it's not just one class, right? It's 100 kids. It's at that point 4 different classes. And actually, no, that was my overage time. So I came back after paternity leave and I had 7 different classes and not a single off period during the day for me to prep. And so that also makes it very challenging to say, hey, do you want to sub and not have a single break during the day and have a ton of different classes that you need to prepare for and teach and student manage about? I don't know. A couple months back ago, I gave a podcast about why you should, or how to become a shop teacher. And yeah, I still believe I have the best job in the world. The biggest challenge though is when you got to be gone. So like today I'm at the Skills USA event and I'm having fun, but to write that sub plan probably made an extra 3 hours of work for me. And you know, I got a substitute there, but you know, they're just kind of like guiding the ship and like making sure we don't veer off course, and I'm the one who sets the course, and it's challenging. So I'm complaining too much here now, so I'm sorry about that, but it can be done well. All right, at least better than just sitting on study hall hour. And my first paternity leave, that's what it kind of became when that substitute quit, and now we don't know where the stuff is. The binder that I gave him stayed in his truck, and he never reached back out to me, wouldn't answer my calls. So I also lost a bunch of stuff too because of just the character of what we got helping us. So anyway, long story longer, it can be done well. It is a blessing when kids come into your life, students or children. And so if you're a shop teacher, like, you've got the best of both worlds happening to you right now. And it was always my goal too during paternity leave. Like, my only hat I'm putting on that day is dad hat and husband hat and, you know, all the personal hats. Like, I'm not going to be teacher. I will answer phone calls. So there's a couple times some department members called me to like help with access to computers and whatnot. But you know, those are honestly, like, it happened twice. You know, out of the 3 paternity leaves that I've had. It's a pretty cool thing. So, if you have other ideas too, please send them to me. I'm recording this now about a month and a half out from our due date. No, 2 months exactly. So I got 2 months too to totally change everything and do things right. But I suppose you're listening to this during the holiday season because of how I got this scheduled. And so, yeah, whatever. Probably not my last kid either, so if you come up with better ways to run a paternity leave, please send them to me. Please make sure that you connect with me online. I'm Mr. Miller's Woodshop everywhere on Instagram and Facebook and X and Threads and blah, 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 right? And please share this with anybody who you would find interest. Any teachers, even if you're not a shop teacher, if you're expecting a baby, like, I can also share some things too, like just general, like, you'll be gone for 2 weeks, and the grades were supposed to be updated, and now you're getting a flood of emails from parents, and so having your admin like ready to respond with emails when you are not available, like, that's a really good thing. And so having that kind of thing set up, and your admin probably been through this before, and so it's worth a meeting with them, which, as I'm thinking about it now, I need to schedule my meeting with my administrator to make sure we've got everything in order and our I's crossed and T's dotted, so that once I go on paternity leave, it can certainly be a paternity leave worth enjoying and not getting calls and emails like this. So, announcement time. At this point, the podcast is going to be neutralized until further notice. Going on paternity leave, if you haven't caught that. And so it's going to be some time off for me. I'm very excited about that. I'm looking forward to being a dad again and chasing my little kids around once the school day ends. I'm very fortunate. I truly mean that I'm a fortunate man that I get to do this. And I will be back on podcast. I don't know if that will be in February, it might be in May, it might be in August, it might be in 2027. I have no idea where this is going next. I'm very grateful to be able to do this and to share this with your folks, but there will be a more extended break than what has occurred in the past. So thank you to all my supporters, the people who have shared with me that this has made an impact on your teaching. Like that's why I keep doing this. That's why I'm just sitting in a parking lot talking to my shirt pocket in my phone, waiting to go into the Skills USA event. Like you guys are why I keep doing this, is because it's fun to not have fans, but to help other teachers help other students. And so that's the heart behind this whole thing. We will pick it back up. I'm not sure when, but thank you for everything. Connect with me online. And I usually don't post pictures of I never post pictures of my kids on social media, but I might make an exception once this next baby is born. I am so excited to be a dad again. And just, okay, personal mode here. If you guys want to log off, just make sure you follow Mr. Mills Woodshop. But our next baby is a girl, and I did not want a girl. I wanted a third boy. Right now, my 5-year-old is a girl, my 3-year-old is a boy, my 1-year-old is a boy. And so I wanted another boy to lock in a voting demographic for a generation. You know, if I had 3 boys and 1 girl, and my wife and I had a vote for maybe take, for instance, Monster Jam or Disney on Ice, like there's no chance we would be outvoted for Monster Jam. And so I wanted a boy. And as we are, discovering and finding out gender and whatnot, we asked my daughter, who is very competent and very understanding of okay, this baby is going to be a boy or a girl, and she very clearly wants a little girl. She's got 2 little brothers, and I got a ton of stories on this too, about all the cute things that she has said, because I told her but if we've got 2 brothers already, let's just have a third one. And my wife said something like that to her, and she responded with the cutest thing of oh, but mommy, if we have another boy, that's going to just be so much work for me. And she's saying that to a stay-at-home mom as a 5-year-old, and that's just so darn cute. But for probably a year now, even before we got pregnant, my daughter has been literally praying for a little sister. And she's a very happy girl. She just loves babies, loves her little brothers to death, to a fault at times. And she's been praying for a little girl. And so, my flesh wants a boy because I want to do the boy stuff, and I love her dance recitals and things like that. That's super cute, and I enjoy that. But if I'm having fun with my kids, I'd rather be a Monster Jam, right? And that's what I just personally wanted. But as we're discovering and wanting to find out, and we did a blood test to figure out the gender, she keeps saying, I really hope it's a girl, I hope it's not a boy. And she was very honestly, my wife and I thought it was a boy. We thought we're going to have to really have a sit-down conversation with her about, yep, we're getting another boy. It's going to be okay. You love your brothers. But when we got the email, so my wife and I got the blood test done, which they send the results to you via email. It's a 99.9% accuracy. And we're reading the email. I'm actually teaching at this point during the summer woodworking club. And so I was honestly stepping out during my lunch break to buy her flowers, because it was this day, right? And so I was stepping out to buy flowers to thank her for, holding another child of mine, and I love her to death. And we also get a great deal in Coon Rapids as teachers to buy flowers, and so it's not like I'm spending a whole bunch of money either on my wife for flowers, but she likes flowers, and I'm buying her flowers. And so as I'm leaving the florist, she gives me the call, and she says, do you want to wait until after bedtime like we planned to open the results? I said, no, I want to know now. I'm driving back to school right now. I won't be home till 3. Will you please open them now? And do not mess with me. Don't lie to me. Just read what it says. And these emails now, if you've had kids anytime soon, or if you've done anything like this, they just tickle you the entire email. So it's a video that they give. And so you play this video, and it's this beautiful, pink and blue. Your results are in. Are you so excited? Here's the countdown. Get ready. Okay. the results are in, and it's just tantalating us. And she's reading this. I'm not able to see it because I'm driving and we're just on the phone, but she's reading this to me and describing the colors, and I'm like you are, just like on the edge of my seat, like, what is this kid going to be? And then finally she says, it's a girl. And for those of you older folks listening, like, you might have not had any access to ultrasound technology either. And at first we found out it's a girl at the ultrasound, but this one was so special because at this point too, just in my own, like, what did I want? Like, I wanted a girl. Like, my flesh wanted a boy, but nope, I want a girl for my daughter because she's been praying for one. And I mean, logistically, we're 2 and 2 now. So that's really fun. And, yeah, just so special. And so I'm looking forward to that. Thank you to all who have listened, and especially those that listen beyond the time when I'm talking about the content and just my nonsense ramblings in the parking lot at Holiday Inn for the Skills USA event. Like, it's pretty special, this community that we've created. And so please reach out. I'm here. I'd love to help. Thank you for your support. And we'll talk when we talk. Goodbye.